Welcome, everybody. Welcome also, Anthony and Dolu. You are our guests today. Thanks a lot for joining us on another Meet the Makers session. So this session is really all about sharing experiences and information about building on Bitcoin and Lightning. And I think we have quite some exciting guests today. And that's also why we invited them. But in general, we invite developers, designers, content creators to join us here. And also any listener to ask a question, and also do that throughout the next minutes so that we can keep the session interactive. Because after all, I think it's a great chance to learn from each other every Tuesday here, together with Bolt.fun and Ed and his team. And today we have Anthony. He is the creator of Thunderhub and a co-founder of Amboss.space with us, and also Dolu. He is the creator of Zerologin. If you wonder what things do they actually have in common, you will see that in the next minutes. I think what I personally find very interesting is to talk about, for example, how they decided on different authentication and login mechanisms, either for Amboss.space or why Dolo came up with Zerologin. But as a short introduction from the two of you, Dolu, can you tell us a bit about your background and the first touch points when it comes to Lightning?
Yes, of course. First, I was contacted by Carlos Roldan in 2018, I think. Not 18. Yes. Sorry, 2018, yes. And he wanted some helps to build Satoshi's games, the first website of the Satoshi's Games project. So I learned Lightning with Carlos, and I learned some LND API on this project for the first time. And after that, I never stopped build on Lightning. So,
Why why didn't you stop building on Lightning? I mean, why have you been so hooked up with it?
because I like Bitcoin and I liked Lightning. How to say that? I was enthusiastic about this project because, as you know, in 2018 or 17, maybe I don't remember, there was a lot of traffic on Bitcoin, and it was maybe it was very hard to send a transaction. So Lightning was a good solution, and I was excited on this project because of that.
And what have you done together with Carlos? What have been the first projects that you've been working on?
The first project was to integrate some HTML5 games on the website. That was the first project of Satoshi's games. So I helped him on web development mainly. So after that, I built some personal project, but yeah, it was the beginning.
And was there already some like Lightning integration in these games, or did you take care of that, or was it in a team?
So
Like when was the first time? When was the first time you really played around with Lightning?
say it again. Sorry, the first question.
My bad. So was it also that you already integrated Lightning payments into these HTML5 games?
Yeah. So My first mission, it's not a mission, but you know, my first job on this project was to help him with the web development, not really the Lightning integration.
Mm-hmm.
It comes uh, after my first job mission. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what is a good word,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I first learned LN service from Alex Bosworth,
Mm-hmm.
how to use it on how to use it. I learned it and I used it on the project.
Can you tell a bit about for the ones who don't know Alan Service and Lit? Can you give us a bit of a background of that?
What do you mean? Sorry, I
So
didn't.
why, what, um, why did you use Alan Service?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was the probably the first and the more complete complete project to interact with your LND node, and yeah, the LND was probably the only implementation with a great API for building. So
Mm-hmm.
it and LND was not my choice. It was probably Carlos and his team
Mm-hmm.
choice. But so yeah, it was natural to use LN service because yeah, it was easy to use.
Okay. I think we should come back to that later on. Over to you, Anthony. Can you tell us a bit about your background and your first touch point when it comes to Lightning?
I think first touch point was similar to Dolu's time, like 2018. And I believe like the first interaction I had with it online was with Pollo Feed and with I think it was Lightning Spin. That was like this. I think it was like one of the OGs from Rui Gomez. That it was like pay 100 sats and then you get to, or 1,000 sats, and then you get to like spin a roulette, and the roulette is like times 2 or times 4. So it was the classic like give me 100 sats, I'll give you 200 back, that type of functionality. And yeah, I think like this was my first interaction with Lightning, seeing like these micropayments go online without knowing like who was behind these projects or where they were based or if it was a company or where I was based. Like didn't really matter. It was just like a website, and through QR codes, like being able to send sats back and forth
Mm-hmm.
was it just seemed amazing to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And was it also or what fascinates you most about the Lightning Network? The possibility of these like super fast transactions, no matter where you are.
So for me, like the front facing part that's really interesting is being able to move value across the internet with
Mm-hmm.
a very little friction. And for like if you want to send one sat anywhere in the world, you can do it. And I think like that breaks a huge boundary, or sort of breaks like the borders in the world for very small transactions. And like the backside part, or more on the developer side, is that since you're able to play like with these very small amounts and do it very quickly, it just becomes very fun, and you get to experiment a lot, and you get to like try to break stuff and figure out what went wrong, and not risk too much funds like in the process of just playing around with it.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe a bit like your journey as a Lightning developer? What experiments have you done so far, and maybe also like successful ones, unsuccessful ones?
Yeah, the so since first interaction was with this Lightning Spin app, um, I wanted to try something similar in which the main functionality with Lightning was receiving and sending out payments. So I built this like Lightning Roulette, like a mini Lightning Roulette website, in which that was like a roulette, like this casino game that you can like send some sats, and then you can put it like on a color or on numbers, and then spin the roulette, and you get like some earnings based on it. This was like my very first experiment. Never went live with it or anything. I didn't really want like any legal issues of having like a gambling site. And from here, I moved over to Thunderhub was the next one. That is an L&D node manager. That it started off. So for me, it started off just as like a learning experience. I had previously just tried out like the sending and the receiving functionality of a node, like get some sats and send out some sats. And I wanted to see like the full API. What else was there offered, like in regards to channels, in regards to forwarding payments, in regards to signing messages. Like there's a full API that L&D covers that you don't really like unless you have a very specific use case for each of these APIs. You never really like go deep into it. And so my thinking was, if I build like a UI that can do everything, where you can do everything for your node, you sort of have to learn every single API endpoint that there is in an L&D. So it started off like that, just trying to build this UI that would have like the most complete feature set connecting to L&D, and that way I would be able to learn like what were all the possibilities and what was everything that could be built on L&D. From here, I met Jesse, my co-founder for Amboss. He was like helping out with Thunderhub and like getting feedback and answering questions and like doing documentation and blog posts regarding it. So it was quite interesting to see like also his passion. And here like we met up and we were like, yeah, let's maybe build out another tool or something more professional. And we started off Amboss with the idea of doing like a professional Thunderhub, or like a more beefed up Thunderhub version. So like with caching and database possibilities, and like really taking it to the next level. We built that for some months, and like we were very close to releasing it, and we realized there wasn't really a market for it, and it wasn't really something that people needed. Like our thinking was that this would be maybe interesting for like companies or like bigger players in the space. And what we didn't realize is that a lot of these bigger players, since like a node is handling money, it has value. A lot of these companies sort of prefer to build everything in-house, and trust like the least amount of outsourced programs as possible, just to like keep everything tight and secure. So we realized there wasn't really a market for it. And like around the same time that we were realizing that, we saw that 1ML was still the only explorer that was like decent and used in the Lightning space. And we said like just like let's have like this side idea. Let's do like this explorer and see like how it goes. Maybe people find it interesting. And like I think since the first week that we released Amboss.space, it had like a lot of feedback, a lot of good feedback, like people really interested, like thank God I don't have to go to 1ML again type of situation. So we were like oh, okay, like this is interesting. We're getting a lot of community feedback. It seems to be something that people were looking for. So we kept on that path, and yeah, ever since we started building out this Explorer, like continued on it and building more features, and yeah, that's like main focus right now.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, the UI of Amboss.space is definitely it's quite an improvement compared to what we have had in the ecosystem just 1 year ago. So that's amazing to see that. And also very interesting, also your journey, because somehow it started off with experimenting like for yourself, building a own app with this roulette app, I think you mentioned, right? And then as a open source project, but maybe more or less or mainly for learning things yourself, right? With the different data points in a L&D node. Then, but it also then quickly developed to a quite known open source tool for node runners, I think, Thunderhub. And now also with Amboss.space, there comes also the whole like commercial side and business perspective into it. But what I also liked regarding Amboss.space, you also quickly thought about different ways of monetizing your service. At least that's what I remember. You tried out rather quickly to charge users, even if it was just some little sats amounts. But this also then gives you some first feeling, okay, where lies the real value that you guys can deliver, and that might end up in a proper product at the end. And what is the business model of Amboss today?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting point, because a lot of feedback that we get is like, you're in this growth phase, like don't charge anything, just try to get as much users as possible. And while I think it is in a way correct, like we should be looking to get as much users and as much feedback as possible for our products, having a price for the different products, which like at this point the price is very minimal. No, like the space is very small, like the lightning space is very small, and what we charge for our product is also very small. So like overall revenue still is very small, so it's more of like a symbolic thing. But what it helps us is see where there is interest or where there is value that people are willing to pay for some services, right? If, for example, if we were to do a Magma, our marketplace, and have everything free, we wouldn't really know if people are using it because it's useful to them or just because it's free. You know, like people love free stuff. They will, if it's free, they will use it even if they don't really need it. No, like if you see in Lightning, like with rebalancing, like people rebalance all the time, and if it costs them almost nothing, then they just do it because they want to, not really because it could be something that is useful to them, right? So adding this price point on top does help us see like, oh, okay, like there's interest from the community to further expand this service. Like they do see value in it. Let's maybe put more focus towards that part. And in terms of business model right now for us, it's, so we have like ads on our homepage. We focus on like Bitcoin and Lightning ads. And then we have subscriptions that you get like some additional perks. Like you can personalize further your node page. You can add like a node, and then for the more like analytics interested people, there is like time series that they can access, like further get further insights into what is happening around nodes or around the Lightning space in general. And like for us, it's really about experimenting. So we're trying out like all these different revenue models, like figuring out where people see value, where they're willing to give us some sats to like improve their experience, or have something nicer or more data, or something that gets improved for them.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for sharing this. I think it's very, very encouraging also for new developers in this space to learn from you. And I think people should take the time to experiment and learn as much as possible. And I'm also curious to learn from you, Dolo. What experiments or what experience also led to the most recent project, Zerologin? Can you share some like history on that?
What do you mean about your question? Sorry.
Why did you come up with Zerologin?
Okay. I see a lot of projects launching every weeks or months, and LN URL auth is deployed on each project, but it's always a new implementation from the service. So, in my opinion, it was sad to see developers build their own LN URL auth service. So I had this idea in mind after that to create a plug and play server for LN URL auth. So you can install it or use a public instance like BTP server, for example. You can host it yourself or use someone else instance. And then you just have to install the plugin, and that's it. You have your LN URL auth server on your service. So that was just because of people are still building their own LN URL auth implementation.
Maybe one step back, for the ones who haven't heard about LN URL auth, could you explain a bit what it is about and how it is used today and what the benefits are of it?
Yes. So what is it? It's only a key derivation like Bitcoin keys derivation. When you use Bitcoin, you have a private key, and your addresses are just a derivation of public key. I will not explain all the details because I'm not a professional of of Bitcoin keys derivation, but yes, it's just that. So you can have an account using your Bitcoin seed. That's it. So you, using LN URL auth, you don't have to remember a login and password. You just have your 12 or 24 words, and you can use this protocol.
Right. And I have personally the feeling that it's got quite some attention in the Lightning space. So there are several Lightning applications that implemented LN URL auth on their website, often in addition to email-based authentication. But LN URL auth is often a option. And this is probably because of that you don't need a password anymore, and that makes the logins a lot easier. Or do you think is there any other reason behind that why LN URL auth is seems to be so popular in our ecosystem?
Yes, I think privacy is a good using LN URL auth. You keep some privacy because you don't expose your login to everyone. So you are when you use it, you are only a public key. So and on each website you are logged in, you will have a different public key, so you keep some privacy using this protocol. I think it's important for Bitcoiners to use it and not using a login password alternative.
Cool. And what was the feedback from the community regarding Zerologin?
To be honest, there is not much feedback on it at this moment. or maybe I don't see it, but yeah, there is no user at the moment on my instance, but because you can install Zerologin yourself. So on my own instance, there is no user anymore, and yeah, I don't know what people think about it. I don't know. Maybe it's bad. I don't know because I don't have any feedback on it.
Anthony, on Amboss, you use a different authentication mechanism for your users, so that to authenticate their node, right? It's based on signing a message, isn't it?
Yeah, so we started off with the idea that we wanted to let users that had their own node create like quickly an account. And what's interesting with these nodes is that you can sign a message, and the signature that you get has included the pub key from that node. So it felt like a very, very nice user experience because they only had to do like one thing, right? They didn't have to paste like a pub key and a signature and then like figure out which is which. Like it was just give us the signature and we will derive the pub key from it, and like make an account for you. So it seemed like a very user friendly flow. And yeah, and I think like users also really liked it. Got a lot of people into looking into this, like signing messages and proving your identity based on these signatures.
So for a developer who also would like to implement a Lightning-based authentication mechanism, why did you choose signing messages over LNURL auth?
So with LNURL auth, the problem is that you can't derive a pub key from it. So for every website, you get like a new key for it. So if we would have done it with LNURL auth, we wouldn't be able to know. We wouldn't know like which pub key or which node to assign to that user, right? So that was like main reason why we moved away from LNURL auth. Nowadays, we have our setup a bit differently, in which we are able to add like other authentication methods for your account. And first one we have right now is with email. So if you add like an email into your Amboss profile, not your profile, but into your Amboss settings, then you should be able to log in also with the email, for example. And the idea is to like continue expanding this, adding LNURL auth, and maybe other authentication methods.
Just also for me to learn a bit about LNURL auth. Not sure, maybe Dolu, you can answer that. I always perceived that login with email, yes, I have to remember a password, but somehow the service I log in can help me recover the password if I lost it. For LNURL auth, is there a way if I lose somehow access and I cannot log in anymore? Is there a way that I can access the account again?
Yeah, no, actually, there is no way to get your account back, but because the only access, the only keys you can save is your Bitcoin seed. So this is the 12 or 24 words. If you add this word, you can get your account back. But if you lose this seed, you can't get your account back. But on there is some services like Boltfun. They integrated a multi-account, multi-LNURL auth keys on the website, so you can have many seed as you want. So and if you lose your first seed, you can still log in with the second one. So it's a good solution to not lose your account if you lose your first seed.
Oh wow, where did you say is that implemented? Bolt.fun or?
Yes. You can if you are logged in on Bolt.fun website, you can add I don't know if it's illimited, but you can add many other keys on your account. So you can log in to your own account with 1, 2, or 3 different seeds.
Yeah, I think it's currently
Cool.
it's limited to 3 keys at the moment. So for example, you can log in with Alby, you can log in with your Breeze or Phoenix wallet, and basically, so if you can access your Bolt Fund account from any 3 of those Lightning wallets. I believe also maybe Geyser Fund is also doing the same. Anthony, is there any plan to sort of do this with Amboss as well? Obviously, you can sort of log in with Lightning. Is there a way to, or a potential future implementation of being able to link multiple wallets to the same account? Just in case I lose my Breeze wallet, I can still log in with another one that I've linked or something.
We have been working on how we store user accounts to allow precisely for this. If we want to add like more authentication methods, we should be able to do it now. Now it's just a question of like which other authentication methods we add, but our infrastructure is set up for it already. Which like previously it wasn't. Like it was very like this is your signature, like this is your account. There's nothing else you can do. And we sort of created a layer on top so that it can have attached different authentication methods.
And what was the reason why you added this to Bolt.fun?
The reason was really to do with sort of the UX of so obviously to create an account on Bolt Fun, you can only actually do it with a Lightning wallet. So we don't offer email signups and things like this. And to be honest, part of it was obviously just to kind of experiment with LNURL auth and some of this kind of cutting edge technology. We also wanted to slightly put our sats where our mouth was and, try and be sort of Lightning only. I mean, I think there's definitely a conversation to have of whether or not that's still sort of a good user experience, particularly for people who are maybe not necessarily Bitcoiners, or even for the tournament that we're running at the moment, there have been a lot of people who are still Bitcoiners who still need a little bit of help getting onboarded. So there's definitely friction in that flow. But where it becomes slightly problematic is if, for example, I lose, I log in or I create an account, maybe using my my Alby wallet or my Breeze wallet or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say I don't back up that wallet on my mobile device. Maybe I lose my phone. If I lose my wallet, I then also lose my Bolt Fun account and every account that comes with that Lightning wallet, right? So essentially what we did was we enabled people to link multiple keys to the same account, which means that I can log in with Alby, with Breeze, with Phoenix. We've capped it at 3 for the moment, but there could be a reason why people could add more. And lastly, one of the other final use cases that we thought of was obviously we love Alby and we're trying to create sort of a good web experience with WebLN, but I was sitting in a cafe one day and I was using my friend's laptop because mine was being repaired in the store, and I needed to do something and I couldn't because they didn't have Alby installed. And in order to do something, I would have had to have downloaded Alby, the web extension, into their Chrome browser. I then would have had to have logged in. And if you're doing this in an internet cafe, or if you're regularly borrowing a laptop or using a device which isn't yours, this isn't really a scalable solution. And you also have to somewhat trust the person whose device you're borrowing. So if now when I go to an internet cafe, or if I use a friend's device or something, I can still access Bolt Fun by using my Lightning wallet on my mobile, rather than something which is embedded in my browser.
Yeah, true. Totally makes sense. Dolu, I'm curious now. You've been building Zerologin. What's next for Zerologin? Do you plan to expand that, or are you already working on a new project?
For the server, at the moment, there is no update currently, because I'm working on another project called Zerologin Mobile. It's my project for the Bolt Fun tournament. So the project Zerologin Mobile is like a Bitcoin wallet, but without being a Bitcoin wallet. It just you take a seed, a Bitcoin seed, and using this seed, you can log in on every service using LNURL auth with Zerologin Mobile. It does only that. But why not using a mobile wallet like Phoenix or Breeze? I think it's a bad idea to use your mobile wallet, because if you do something wrong with your privacy on your node, you maybe want to change your seed one day. So if you have to change your seed, you can't log in on the services you have created an account on it. So this is one reason of why I think it's bad to use your Bitcoin wallet on LNURL auth, and that's why I built this mobile app. This mobile app, sorry. You generate a seed only for authentication, not for Bitcoin.
And can you walk us a bit through the user flow? So I download the Zerologin mobile app, and what's next then? For example, I want to access Bolt.fun on the mobile. Is that a possible use case?
Yes, of course. When you download the application, you will have to generate a new seed, or you have to restore an existing seed. So it's exactly like in other Bitcoin wallet. The workflow is the same. Then when your seed is set up on the mobile application, you can scan any LNURL auth QR code you want, and that's it. You are logged in.
But you also have to back up the Zerologin mobile wallet, right?
Yes, you have to back up your seed, because it's a new one, and yeah, if you lose this seed, you you lose all of your accounts.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of things to think about as a user. It's true, but it's cool that you experiment with that. How do you stay like up to date with all the latest developments when it comes to like Lightning protocols in particular, maybe even LNURL auth, if there's something happening, if it's further developed?
I only follow some people on Twitter and Telegram, but I don't participate. I don't participate much on discussion. I only follow people, and sometimes I have some ideas, but yeah, I follow some people.
And what do you do with your ideas? Do you then approach people on Telegram, post your ideas publicly somewhere, or even both.fun maybe, another community?
For many months or years maybe, if I can do my idea, I do it. I only do it. Maybe it will never be released, but yeah, I try to do it. And if I can't make the idea because it's too complicated for me, if I think the idea is great, I will talk to someone else. We can match with this idea, but yeah, if I can do it, I will make it.
Very cool. Anthony, Dolu is working on a Zerologin mobile project for the Legends of Lightning tournament. Assuming you have enough time, I know you're a busy founder at Amboss.space, but assuming you have enough time, is there any project that you would like to work on aside of Amboss and Thunderhub?
I think like right now I'm pretty stuffed in things that I have to do for Amboss specifically. But if I didn't have stuff to do for Amboss, one thing that I would love to do is some type of payment solution specifically focused towards Latin America. Like in my head, Latin America is like the perfect ecosystem for Lightning payments to work. Like instant low amounts, no need to have like a bank account, just an internet connection. And in Latin America, like you a lot of people have cell phones, but not a lot of people have a bank nearby. So I think building some type of payment solution or some type of wallet focused towards Latin America, something like what Galoy is building. I think that is very, very interesting and focusing it specifically in the Latin America communities. I would imagine I would be doing something like that if I didn't have Amboss.
Yeah. This is interesting. I mean, you definitely see several wallets also popping up there with Coin Jungle app, Bitcoin Beach wallet, and I don't know actually. Maybe there are even like smaller communities building their own apps. That's are very exciting. That is true.
Yeah, people will be forced onto Bitcoin and Lightning when they have the need for it, and I think Latin America has the need for it. they are the perfect community to start grabbing all the benefits that come with it.
Yeah, good point. Are there any new specs emerging that excite you a lot when it comes to Lightning? WebLN, LNURL, Taro, /tag, what was released recently, for example.
Yeah, I think for us as a data company, something that is going to be very interesting is the idea of splicing and being able. So splicing is basically being able to change channel sizes without sort of having to close the channel, right? So you can say like, we have this channel that is 1 BTC in size. Now we want to have it that's 2 BTC. So without having to like close it down, set up a new channel, and you're able to do it like quicker. That will be very interesting. I think it's huge improvement also for mobile wallets, or for like LSPs to have this functionality. And for us, like just being able to capture it and see like who is splicing channels, how are they being modified, that would be very, very interesting. And then Taro, of course, especially the part that is on Lightning, because it has like this like on-chain part and then the move onto the Lightning part. Being able to see like which nodes have channels and different assets exchange rates that they offer, like this whole like decentralized exchange situation that would happen with Taro, and being able to locate people in the network that offer these different services, that would also be amazing.
Right. Yeah, that's indeed a lot of very exciting innovations coming up. I can confirm that. We can quickly look if there are any other like questions from the audience dropped in the meantime. If not, then we could also directly go to the final rounds of question. What do you think, Ed?
Seems like a quiet Tuesday afternoon in the comments so far. I think a lot of people are busy at some of these conferences and hackathons.
Updating their nodes.
Yeah, everyone's busy updating their nodes. Exactly. Sore subject.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of people are already heavily working on their Legends of Lightning projects.
They are, yeah. There have been some pretty awesome submissions so far. I think we've got over 40 projects now taking part. Gonna try and push that number to 50. So we'll see how far we can take that. But yeah, it's been pretty amazing. A lot of the feedback and the participation so far. So
what have you planned this week? I mean, for example, I heard already today a talk about Lightning on the web and some building blocks there from Escaped Cat.
Yeah, absolutely. So this week we're doing quite a few sort of Lightning on web workshops. Each week has generally taken a bit of its own sort of focus. This week we're kind of more focusing towards the web. So today we had Escaped Cat, who's a member of the Alby team. He did sort of an introduction to sort of building with Lightning on the web. He looked at sort of specs like LNURL, WebLN, LSATs, and a couple more. And then tomorrow, I think we've got 2 more workshops. So we've got Rene and Roland, who are going to come and do sort of bootstrapping Lightning infrastructure for sort of web apps and things like that, which is going to be great. And then I think about an hour after that, I think it's Boomy is going to come and talk about sort of podcasting 2.0, value for value payment streaming, and sort of Lightning in general. So that's going to be really cool. I think he's maybe even going to demo some music player that he's been working on, or at least how sort of Lightning plays a role in that. And then finally, I think we've got one more on Thursday. We've got Jake from MASH. We had another MASH one earlier on Monday, but Jake's going to be coming back on Thursday, and he's going to be giving a talk on Lightning address, which is really cool. So yeah, loads of Lightning on web stuff this week. Continuing with the workshops and the hacking, but like you said, quite a few people are already busy with their projects. But hopefully these are helpful for people and get them started.
Cool. Quite an interesting outlook. But regarding outlook, Anthony, what's next for Amboss.space?
So I think we're iterating on a lot of stuff, and we have, for example, some interesting changes that will come into Magma. That will be really fun and mostly focused around providing both sides of the market. So right now you're only able to come in and buy channels from people that are already selling it. And we're sort of missing like the other side of the market, in which you're asking for channels, or like what's called as like the bid side. So that will be very interesting, and hopefully we're able to get it out this week.
Oh wow, cool. Dolu, what do you think is a big missing part in the Lightning ecosystem that any developer out there could pick up and contribute to our community?
I think the most important part missing is UX. When I launched Phoenix Wallet or Breeze for the first time a few days ago, I mean, not for the first time, but from scratch for the first time for many months before that. When you clicked on the received button, you have to choose between invoice or Bitcoin address. I think it's a bad UX. Maybe something like BIP21 with invoice and Bitcoin address. How to say that? On the same QR code could be better, because newcomers doesn't have to know if they are using Lightning or on-chain Bitcoin. I think it should be transparent for users. Maybe it's only me, but yeah, I think it could be a great UX improvement.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a good one, and maybe we should also see that we get some designers here on our show, and maybe even some representatives of the 21 proposal. But yeah, like let's wrap it up here. I would say, Dolu, where can people learn more about Zerologin or even Zerologin mobile?
About Zerologin, you can follow me on Twitter, because I'm only on this platform, and of course on Boltfun, where I post my progress over the week for the tournament. So yeah, you can find me here.
Thanks a lot. And what about you, Anthony, regarding Amboss and Thunderhub?
For me, I think similar. So I'm on Twitter at TonyIOI. And yeah, appreciate if anybody visits thunderhub.io or Amboss.space.
Cool. Yeah, thanks a lot to the two of you, and also especially to the listeners. I think then we are good for today. So we learned a lot actually about LN Service, for example, how PoyoFeed and Lightning Spin can onboard new developers to the Lightning ecosystem. Also about yeah, BIP21, for example, or splicing. So yeah, thanks a lot for all these inputs. And to the listeners out there, please share this episode with others who may be interested in this topic. Also feel free to let us know what topics you would like to see covered in future episodes, and yeah, get in touch in the comments and send some sats with the Alby browser extension. So see you next week.
See you guys.